Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Cyclonas, and in today's video, this is going to be episode 1 of something I'm going to be doing for fun, and it's just going to be me reading, like, books, like, original books. Like, I might read a Shakespeare book, or a fairy tale book, or something. I'm just going to try this out. This is like a podcast thing. This is not something you see. The image is just going to stay as this one image of, as Eugene Fitzherbert, which I'm pretty sure is not in the original, but whatever. So this is the original Brothers Grimm story. So this isn't actually the original, like, he didn't come up with the story, but he, like, kind of made it what it is today. It's like, he took, like, a lot of things. It's kind of how, it's like how, Alvin Schwartz took, like, folklore and then made scary stories and all the dark. So, starting off, there once was a man and his wife who had actually, should I, like, listen to it instead?
Rapunzel. There was once a man and a woman who had long and vain wished for a child.
Okay. So there once was a man and his wife who had long wished for a child, but in vain. Now there was at the back of their house a little window which overlooked a beautiful garden full of their finest vegetables and flowers. But there was a high wall all around it, and no one ventured into it, for it belonged to a witch of great might, and of whom all the world was afraid. Okay. So I'm assuming the witch is Mother Gothel, because that just makes sense. One day, that the wife was standing at the window and looking into the garden, she saw a bed filled with the finest rampion, and it looked so fresh and green that she began to wish for some, and at length she longed for it greatly. This went on for days, and as she knew she could not get the rampion, she pined away and grew pale and miserable. Then the man was uneasy and asked, "What is the matter, dear wife?" "Oh," answered she is crazy. What if in my books I just start answering with, for example, it goes like, "This is your home now," answered she. "I shall die unless I can have some of that rampion to eat that grows in the garden at the back of our house." The man, who loved her very much, thought to himself, "Rather than lose my wife, I will get some rampion, cost what it will." So in the twilight, he climbed over the wall into the witch's garden, plucked hastily a handful of rampion, and brought it to his wife. She made a salad of it at once, and ate it to her heart's content, but she liked it so much that it tasted so good that the next day she longed for it thrice as much as she had done before. It was to have any man, what? Sorry, wow, I'm so bad at reading this, like, 1700 stuff. If she was to have any rest, the man must climb over the wall once more. So he went in the twilight again, and as he was climbing back, he saw all at once the witch standing before him, and was terribly frightened, as she cried with angry eyes, "How dare you climb over into my garden like a thief, and steal my rampion?" I don't know if it's rampion or just rampant. I'm just gonna say rampant, because that sounds better. "It shall be the worse for you." "Oh," answered he again. "Be merciful rather than just. I have only done it through necessity, for my wife saw your rampion out of the window, and became possessed with so great a longing that she would have died if she had not had some to eat." Then the witch said, if it is all as you say, you might have as much rampion as you like, on one condition: the child that will come into the world must be given to me. It shall go well with the child, and I shall care for it like a mother." In the distress of mind, the man promised everything, and when the time came when the child was born, the witch appeared, and giving the child the name of Rapunzel, which is the same as rampant, she took it away with her. Rapunzel was the most beautiful child in the world. Wow. When she was 12 years old, the witch shut her up in a tower in the midst of a wood, and it had neither steps nor door, only a small window above. When the witch wished to be let in, she would stand below and cry, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel had beautiful long hair that shone like gold. When she, period, I think that's a typo, heard, like, obviously, like, not a typo in the original story, because I don't think that happened, but like a typo in the translation. When she heard the voice of the witch, she would undo the fastening of the upper window, unbind the plaits of her hair, and let down tiny elves below, and the witch would climb up by it. After they had lived thus a few years, it happened that as the king's son was riding through the wood, he came to the tower, and as he drew near, he heard a voice singing so sweetly that he stood and listened. It was Rapunzel in her loneliness, trying to pass away the time with sweet songs. The king's son wished to go in to her, and sought to find a door in the tower, but there was none. So he rode home, but the song had entered into his heart, and every day he went into the wood and listened to it. Once, as he was standing there under a tree, he saw the witch come up and listened while she called out, "Oh, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Then he saw how Rapunzel let down her long tresses. We're gonna search up what. Holy crap. We're gonna search up what tresses means. Tresses? Someone's hair, especially long hair. Okay, so I think I could have just understood what that means. What the heck just freaking happened? What is going on? Okay. Then he saw how Rapunzel let down her long tresses, and how the witch climbed up by it and went into her. And he said to himself, "Since that is the ladder, I will climb it, and seek my fortune." What does that mean? And the next day, as soon as it began to grow dusk, he went to the tower and cried, "Oh, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And she let down her hair, and the king's son climbed up it. Rapunzel was greatly terrified when she saw that a man had come in to her, for she had never seen one before. Whoa, is that a guy? That's crazy. I'm gonna go hit him with a pan. Sorry, continuing. But the king's son began speaking. Oh, sorry. Flynn is now a prince. I guess that makes sense. They're always a prince. Besides, the image I have in front of us right now is like, it's a photo of like a guy in a cape. So obviously a prince. Anyways. Rapunzel was greatly terrified when she saw that a man had come into her, for she had never seen one before. But the king's son began speaking so kindly to her, and told how her singing had entered into his heart, so he could have no peace until he had seen her herself. Okay, then Rapunzel forgot her terror, and when he asked her to take him for her husband, and she saw that he was young and beautiful, she thought to herself, "I certainly like him much better than old Mother Gothel." Okay, so that is her name. And she put her hand into his hand. She said, "I would willingly go with thee, but I do not know how I shall get out. When thou comest, bring each time a silken rope, and I will make a ladder, and when it is quite ready, I will get down by it out of the tower, and thou shalt take me away on thy horse." That is quite a sentence. They agreed that he should come to her every evening as the old woman came in the daytime. So the witch knew nothing of all this once Rapunzel said to her unwittingly, "Mother Gothel, how is it that you climb up here so slowly, and the king's son is with me in a moment?" "Oh, wicked child," cried the witch, "what is this I hear? I thought I had hidden thee from all the world, and thou hast betrayed me." In her anger, she seized Rapunzel by her beautiful hair, struck her several times with her left hand, and then grasping a pair of shears in her right, snip, snap, the beautiful locks lay on the ground. And she was so hard-hearted that she took Rapunzel and put her in a waste and desert place where she lived in great woe and misery. The same day on which she took Rapunzel away, she went back to the tower in the evening and made fast the severed locks of hair to the window hasp. And the king's son came and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Then she let the hair down, and the king's son climbed up. But instead of his dearest Rapunzel, he found the witch looking at him with wicked glittering eyes. "Aha!" cried she, mocking him. "You came in for your darling, but the sweet bird sits no longer in the nest, and sings no more. The cat has got..." What is this? "The cat has got her, and you will scratch out your eyes as well." We're not gonna do that. "Rapunzel is lost to you. You will see her no more." The king's son was beside himself with grief, and in his agony he sprang from the tower. He escaped with life, but the thorns on which he fell put out his eyes. Okay, there goes me being a family-friendly channel. Then he wandered blind through the wood, eating nothing but roots and berries, and doing nothing but lament and weep for the loss of his dearest wife. So he wandered several years in misery until at last he came to the desert place where Rapunzel lived with her twin children that she had borne. How? How did she just randomly have children? What? When did that... How did... I'm just gonna ignore that. A boy and a girl. At first he heard a voice that he thought he knew, and when he reached the place from which it seemed to come, Rapunzel knew him, and... Sorry, what is this sentence? At first he heard a voice that he thought he knew, and when he reached the place from which it seemed to come, Rapunzel knew him. Don't know what that sentence means, but I can't... that OG English. And fell on his neck and wept. And when her tears touched his eyes, they became clear again, and he could see with them as well as ever. Then he took her to his kingdom, where he was received with great joy, and there they lived long and happy. Wow. So that is the original story of Rapunzel, or Tangled, or Réponse, if you're French. I think that is quite interesting, because you can definitely see how, like, the different changes that are in this. Obviously, because in here, how it goes is that there's the girl. Obviously, well, you just read the story, whereas in the Disney movie, it's about the flower that makes her young again, and then she steals the child when they have it. It wasn't a deal; she just steals it in the night, dead of night, and then she grows her up just so she can stay young. And then a guy goes into her tower, so it's kind of similar, goes into her tower, and then she wants to go see these lights, so then he takes her to go see these lights, but there's also, like, he steals a crown, he's a thief, not the king's son, and then at the end of the movie, it's the same thing where he says, Rapunzel, let down your hair, and then the hair goes down, and then he goes up, and then it's his mother, and then his mother stabs him, and she's in chains, and wow, I did not realize how non-kid-friendly Disney was, even though it was 2010, which was like, gosh, that was a while ago. Anyways, yeah, so this is like, I'm just trying this out. I don't know how many of these podcast things I'm gonna do, but basically what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna read a story, obviously. So this was the original Tangled. I have, like, the Little Mermaid. I'm gonna read about it. So, and then talk about it. But yeah, I feel like this was just quite because Tangled is my favorite Disney movie, and seeing it like this is kind of crazy, but it's honestly a good story. For me, being like a writer, or like a guy that likes writing, well, I mean, I guess I did publish a book, so I can call myself a writer now, but me being like a writer, it's like, it's really cool to see this, because even though it's like, the original English can get confusing, but it's such good writing, like, I love the way that he writes. It's just so good. I don't even know what else to say. It's just so good. So I currently have the French version, so I'm just going to read, like, a paragraph of this, because I find this interesting. So my gosh, so l'histoire de la Ponce. Il était une fois un mari et sa femme qui avaient depuis longtemps désiré avoir un enfant. Quand en fait, la femme fut de l'espérance et pensait que le bon Dieu avait bien voulu accomplir son vœu le plus cher. Sous le derrière de leur maison, il y avait une petite fenêtre qui donne sur le magnifique jardin où poussent les plantes et les fleurs les plus belles. Mais il est entouré d'une haute mur et nul ne s'aventurera à l'intérieur parce qu'il apparaît apparent à une sorcière douée d'un grand pouvoir et que tout le monde crée bien. No, so it's the exact same story, just in French. Literally translated. There's a couple, like, differences. I know that something really satisfying to listen to sometimes is if you ever have a chance to do this. Anyone listening to this, you gotta listen to Disney songs in French, because they are incredibly satisfying. Just listening to a Disney song just in French. My favorite one is Méfiez-vous des apparences, which is from Mary Poppins Returns. Like, it's actually so satisfying, like, because in the original songs it's like, a cover is not the book, so open it up and take a look. It rhymes, but if you were to translate it, it wouldn't rhyme. But so they changed the lyrics a bit to make it so it does rhyme, whereas it still keeps, like, the same it kind of still keeps, like, the same, like, song. So, like, the chorus is just so good. It goes like, so I'm trying to find it. Yeah, it says, oh. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, well, you get it. It's cool. I think you understand what I'm basically saying. Yeah. C'est merveilleuse, mais les apparences sont... Yeah, this whole part right here where it goes like, in the French version, it says, ne jamais se faire apparence en livrant beaucoup. Oh, plus que l'on pense, le monde des vrais abusés a triple chance, il faut lire entre les lignes et l'intérêt du monde te signe. Les premières impressions sont merveilleuses. Mais les apparences sont trompeuses. It's just really satisfying. So maybe do that sometime. Sorry, I got a bit distracted from the the songs, but I mean from the thing. I think the next story I'm gonna read is going to be Frozen because I think that's very satisfying. I mean, not satisfying. Sorry, I think that's very. That'll be like that's like kind of like the next step up. It's like I just did Tangled, so now I'm gonna do Frozen. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this audio recording. I guess don't even know if anyone's gonna listen to this all the way through. But if you do, then that's cool. And I'm very proud of you. And you are now one of my favorite people. Thank you guys so much. Goodbye.